Hello, I'm Julie Barrette. The reason I'm here tonight is I've been wanting to start a YouTube for a very long time. And there's so many out there, and a lot of good ones, and a lot of them are right. But I wasn't satisfied. I didn't want to just create a YouTube like everybody else. So I took off a lot of time last year, and I read a lot of books, did a lot of research. A lot of the stuff is true, a lot of the stuff is questionable, and boy, do you have to be careful into what sites you go. You can get in a lot of trouble. It was very interesting, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot of things I would have rather not known, but they're all necessary. I still wasn't satisfied. I just wasn't satisfied with what I found, because I know all the secret societies, they do exist, they have a lot of power. You know who they are: Skull and Bones, Illuminati, Freemasons, many, many, many. And that was basically my start. Going back to, oh my God, 1933, Council on Foreign Relations, Morgan C. Fogman gave me a lot to go with. But I still kept reading and reading and reading, and you know, it's like, it was good. It was very good. But for a long time, I kept asking, but who's behind them? I mean, who is behind all of it? You know, the Rothschild Zionists, Rockefellers, yes, we know all of that. But, and well, it took months to figure out that it was the Pope, and then they have a black Pope. Right now, Pope Francis is the current black Pope. Okay, and the Jesuits. Yes, okay, so we know all of that. And yeah, they're pretty much behind everything. I mean, Pope Francis had what was it, the Agenda 2030 last year in New York after a stay here. It was like last September. Okay, so that's all true, that's all fine. But I still wasn't satisfied. It's like, okay, so he's behind the Illuminati, or they're behind everything, all of it. Everybody answers to him, basically. But, you know, it's like, still, like, who's behind them? I mean, I just kept whacking my brain. There really wasn't anywhere else to go, anything else to research, you know? I mean, where? More secret groups. They're all in on it, right? But no. So I'm thinking, I'm meditating, and still not satisfied. And I was on my way to LA about a month ago, and I was dozing off, taking a little nap. My head was resting on the window, and all of a sudden it hit me that it was God. That it was God that was behind everything. And okay, I like that. I meditated on it. And when I was meditating, I had asked, okay, so is it God that is behind all of it? And you know how meditation is, you're very quiet, you're very still, and you wait for something to come into your mind. And all of a sudden, it was like very strong in as my head looked up, it said, look high to the sky. And it's like, wow, it is God. It's our Creator. He's behind all of it. Well, I started to think about it, and yeah, He created everything, correct? Everything. So why was God behind all of this? Well, being our Creator, and being very dissatisfied with how everything is in the world, he just he gave us this, all of this, and he wanted to see if his people were going to fight for him or not. He wanted to see what his people were made of. And you know, it's pretty much a disappointment. There were not a lot of voices. Oh, we know our media blocks many things, but there were not voices. You know, just like the same-sex marriage. Why was that okay? Why was all of that okay? You know, well, you go back years ago when they were taking the 10 Commandments out of school, and there, you know, people, they just sat back and they took it, and they didn't ask questions, and they just kept taking it and taking it. You know, the Catholic Church, well, forget the Catholic Church, that's another story. I'm a very strong believer in God. I do not go to church. That's, you know, if you don't need to go to church to talk to God, that's for sure. But why weren't people speaking up and against all of the crap that was happening, that they were being put through? Why were they just saying, oh, this is okay, this is the way it is? I don't get it. I just don't get it. You want to take abortion alone? You know? Why were they so, why was everyone so complacent? You know, did God ask us to be? I don't think so. So I just started thinking and thinking, and I became satisfied, very satisfied that he is the one. Oh, I can't document anything. There's nothing to document. These are my thoughts. But remember when they said in the last days, all that is bad will suddenly be good and acceptable. And it is. It is. Bad people are being rewarded, you know, across the board. Everywhere you go, it's like you're chastised. If you're a do-gooder or you believe in God, it's like, oh my God, taboo, you can't do that, you know? And people just sit there and take it. And I thought, you know, are they taking it because the fake Christians too, they're all riding this, what do you want to call it, they're all riding this train of deceit. It's like they've jumped on the bandwagon. They don't really care what's going on, because they too they're enjoying like kind of the free-for-all society. I mean, if God, they are, and they call themselves Christians. I mean, really, you're enjoying this? I don't get it. I do not get it at all. That's kind of where I'm at, and I'm very disappointed. I'm very disillusioned. Wow. Seems like a lot of older people. They're the ones that do understand. Some young ones do. But, you know, at what point do you speak up and say, I have had enough? Really, at what point? I think God must be very, very, very disappointed in, you know, his people. And he put all these groups out there. And, you know, just, it's been going on for years and years and years with back in the 30s, Council on Foreign Relations, all of this. I mean, these groups came into being, the groups turning the blacks against the whites. I mean, this was all orchestrated stuff, you know, and people just kept buying into it. Why? Because they wanted to. They wanted to hate each other. I mean, really? Is that Christian-like to want to hate? Not questioning, you know, not questioning. There's a lot of material out there. There's a lot to read. A lot of things are false. As a result, I used to travel the world. I still travel. I used to tell people what I got out of going to Egypt, you know, so many times, the cradle of civilization, what I felt, what I learned, and then in the Far East, how bright the people were. And all of a sudden it's like, you know, it's hard for me to tell those stories because it's all false, like what they did to the Middle East, the fake wars. It was all part of it. I mean, they set the stage. They did all of that destruction just so they could create these terror groups, you know. They created the terror groups to make the people afraid, or so they could raise money on gas, or, you know, oh, bring in the immigrants from all over. Immigration's like so out of control. But how the Middle East had to be so carved up. We allowed it to be carved up. Oh, we didn't know. We're not totally to blame. We trusted our government. They did so many wrong things, and I feel like telling my story now, why I used to travel, just, it's not the same because it was a fake history. All of it was fake. All of it. I mean, it was a game of charades, you know. The entire thing was a game of charades. It always has been. Ah, God. You know? I mean, I think when I went to college, I had a history minor. And if I knew what I knew now, when I was in college, studying history, I wouldn't be able to pass because the exams, I couldn't go along with what they're saying because it's all false. All of it is false. All of it. It's like our entire lives were lies. And it blows my mind, really. Really. But I also understand that many of us have chosen to be here now because this is an important time. Yes, we're living in the last days. I don't think anyone can dispute that. So, you know, everything has reached a climax. And I guess it's not relevant anymore, the whys and the wherefore, because, I mean, here we are. And still the question is, what are we going to do with this? I'm constantly speaking to people. Constantly. I'm calling people on the carpet when I see so many injustices, and God, why are the bad people being rewarded? God, and they're murdering our children, you know, with the vaccines and the Common Core education. I mean, these are real things. Yes, God's been behind it all. He put the groups there, but the people are not questioning anything. And this is so sad. I mean, really sad. Our children are supposed to be our future. It doesn't matter that basically you could say our life here on this planet is a lie. It still is a life you're living, and when you're living a life, you're supposed to try to do good things, give back to the planet. Always put your best foot forward. You know, having God in your life. There is only one Creator. He's a creator of everything, and if you live by His rules, you don't have to question anything else. There's no need to. But we have really been foolish. Wow, have we been foolish? Huh, we have, you know. And those of us who are smarter, we're, you know, not everybody, you know, is at the same level. We should have been helping those that aren't as smart. It's our duty, you know, to help. You want to, like, pay it forward, move things along, open people's eyes. And I feel very sad, very, very sad. And wow, and God is very disappointed. He's very, very disappointed in His people. He has no reason to be proud of you. after all. Oh, there's some of us he's happy with. The numbers are so small. Very, very small. And I just don't know. There, like I said, there's a lot out there. There's a new election. Oh, it's a game of charades. But, you know, whatever. Clearly Trump would be the best, you know, of the two. I don't know what to take on that. I look at the media now, and it's just, you know, I can't even, once you're awake, you see everything, and sometimes you wish you could go back because, well, because you don't like what you see, but there's no going back. And so this new election, I don't know. I still think Obama's going to be in somehow, because we're so close to where they want us to be. And forget the martial law. Oh, and don't. These groups are evil. I'm not making light of anything, but they don't even need it, because, you know, for the most part, people have been pretty so complacent, so easily led, that they don't need martial law. Shit, they just snap their finger and you do it. I mean, you have no questions after all. So I don't really know what's going to happen with that. I still believe Obama will remain in, and whatever. Just, that's neither here nor there, actually, because it's what the people do with whatever the outcome is. Nobody can save us from anything except ourselves, and the only way we can do that is to fight back. And it doesn't have to be, you know, in a negative way. You fight back with questions. You fight back with reasoning. You know, oh wow, you start, you know, you go to, yeah, your fake little chambers of you go wherever you need to go, your senators, and you start demanding answers. Sometimes I think, you know, in that White House, it's just a bunch of guys playing poker. I mean, I don't think, lawyers, I don't think anything is real. None of it is real, but it's what was given to us. So we still, in this non-real agenda, have to go out and try to make things happen, as hard as it is, because what else can we do, after all? But I do a lot of worrying, you know, again, like for the children. I mean, this is still like a planet. This is our country. You know, we live here. We're people. We're alive, and we breathe. You know, and we eat all the shit that we eat, all the poisons that they spray on us, the chemtrails. It's like, yeah, it's a rather unhealthy existence, but there's ways around that. It's our duty to get around that. In other words, we can't just throw in the towel and say, yeah, okay, if you believe God is behind all of this, as I do, then you must ask yourself, what would God want you to do? And I don't think anyone can pretend that these are not our last days. Well, what are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do in these last days? What are you going to fight for? Are you going to fight for God, your Creator, to make your world right again, for the people you care about, for your planet? You should care about your planet. You should care about your animals. You know, God, stop the butchering of the animals. You know, stop eating the meat. Those are other stories for other times, but the big question out there is what you're going to do. Like I said, I've been wanting to make a YouTube for a very long time, and I wasn't just going to jump on the bandwagon and do what everybody else was doing. I wasn't satisfied. There's enough of that. And there's a lot of truth. Yeah, aliens, that's all true too. Cloning, yes. Yes, it is. I mean, all of it is. It is. But again, you have to be, well, not every single thing. You have to be careful of what you get into. And basically, if you just want to do the right thing, learn to question. And you're not happy with something, ask the appropriate questions. But this is your planet and your life. And, you know, God is the creator of everything. There is only one creator. So the days ahead are pretty critical, very critical. And now that I've started my YouTube, what I'd like to do is probably on a weekly basis continue with things that I observe, just point out more and more things that you could be a part of, that you could do something about, you know, if you really, really care, to get back to the basics. And if you can't do it for you, you know, think of your children. Think of just anyone you love, or, you know, just think of what is right. It's not that hard. You know, innately, we all know right from wrong, or most of us do. And don't just hop on the bandwagon, you know, of, God, there's enough people on that. And yeah, you want better things for your family and all of this, but at what expense? Where do you draw the line? So I'm going to leave you with that, and I'll see you probably next week. I'm going to pick my night. I'll let you know when. And in the meantime, have a good week. Try to look at things with your eyes wide open. And please question. Please question as much as you can. And whatever, above and beyond all else, try to love people. Don't criticize. Don't hate. Don't jump on that bandwagon. Don't get so upset about the election. Go ahead and vote. Just don't get into the negatives. You know, it's all propaganda. And so I'm Julie Barrette, and I will be back. I'll be back again very soon. Okay? Thank you.